Also breaking tonight, a major development in the controversy involving one of the biggest hits on television. Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson is on indefinite hiatus thanks to comments he made in an interview with GQ magazine. And now the Robertson family is weighing in about the future of the TV show. The family saying, quote, in part, "We have had a successful working relationship with A&E, but as a family, we cannot imagine the show going forward without our patriarch at the helm. We are in discussions with A&E to see what that means for the future of Duck Dynasty." Robertson was quoted calling homosexuality sinful. Gay rights advocates are outraged. There were more comments as well, but Robertson and his show have plenty of defenders as well. We begin tonight with Jeremy Hooper, special projects consultant for GLAAD, a lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender media advocacy organization that has publicly addressed the controversy. We will have Tony Perkins on in a minute. Jeremy, thank you for being here.
Great to be here.
All right, let me start with this, and I'm going to ask Tony Perkins the same question. Why can't those who believe, I'm going to ask him it the other way, why can't those who believe homosexuality is a sin voice their objections, argue against it, and ask others to reject it?
No one has claimed they cannot. What they cannot do is do so in a vacuum. This is not a free speech issue. What the defenders of Phil Robertson are seeking is freedom from consequence. None of us are entitled to that. If right now I were to say something to you completely outlandish, GLAAD would never allow me back on your air again. If you were to give a press interview with GQ and you were to say something outlandish, Fox News might have to put you on indefinite hiatus. We all have to answer to our employers.
Let's get specific about what he said, and
Please.
you know, with all due respect to the viewers at home, but let's get specific about what it was, because GLAAD put out a statement saying his lies, and he decided to push vile and extreme stereotypes. Can you get specific about what the lies and the extreme, stereotypes?
Yes, and please hide your children's ears, because he said that someone like me is the equivalent of someone who has sexual intercourse with animals. That's essentially what he said.
The bestiality comment. All right, let me show the viewers that, because we have
okay,
it.
Please
just
do.
Show
Yes.
them. And this is what the GQ asked him, what in your mind is sinful? And he answered, this is the number one, he answered, start with homosexual behavior and just morph out from there. Bestiality, sleeping around with this woman and that woman and that woman and those men. Now, his defenders, Jeremy, say that's not linking homosexuality to bestiality. It's saying what's sinful. And he gave a list. And on the list,
let's also mention terrorists. He also equated us with terrorists. And let me also say his defenders are the same people who traffic in some of the most anti-LGBT rhetoric around. You're going to have Tony Perkins up on in a minute. Tony Perkins has said some of the most vile and inhumane things about people like me imaginable.
What specifically? Because I'll ask
he himself has compared gays to terrorists. He said it is a fact that gay people face eternal damnation. He actually defended that heinous Uganda law with the death penalty attached, and then quietly removed it. Denies he ever did it, but I have the audio, which I will gladly provide you if you ask me for it. We at GLAAD have rounded up. We have a project that we call the Commentator Accountability Project, where we don't ask networks to not book Tony Perkins. We just say, if you are to book Tony Perkins, please hold him to account, and that's something networks often do not do.
Now, you know what his defenders, Tony Perkins, is going to say, and what Phil's defenders say, and they say that this is a Christian belief, not the linkage to bestiality.
Sure.
And I'm not conceding that he linked it. I'm not taking a position on that. We'll let the viewers decide whether that's a linkage. And on the terrorist things, let's just show the viewers what he said on the terrorists, because there's also a question about what he meant there, but this is what he said. We never ever judge someone on who's going to heaven or hell. That's the Almighty's job. We just love them, give them the good news about Jesus, whether they're homosexuals, drunks, terrorists. We let God sort them out later. You see what I'm saying? So I understand your side said that's linking. The other side says it's not linking. It's just a list of.
Well, let me give you one tasty little nugget. One of his defenders is actually the Westboro Baptist Church, the notorious God hates, the word I'm not going to use, church. But they're vocally supporting him, and they actually.
Okay, but I want to ask you, forget them, because we don't give.
Well, I would love to, but unfortunately, they didn't forget Phil Robertson.
Well, let me ask you this, because you know that there are a lot of people in this country. I mean, half of the people of this country, 45% say homosexuality is a sin, 45% say no, it isn't, according to the latest poll. So there are a lot of people out there who feel as Phil does, right, that it's a sin. And they say he's just expressing, albeit in some controversial terms, what I feel, and I don't want to be silenced. To them, you say what?
Well, let me start with also, we've completely overlooked the racist element, which is another, I would arguably more compelling element that I hope you'll mention. I do question that poll a little bit, but we see that majority support is trending towards equality. And there are
but for those who are saying he speaks for me.
He could have said that he's against marriage equality. If you want to stand with Phil Robertson, the bottom line is this. You're not standing with freedom of speech. You're standing with very anti-gay comments. You are allowed to do that, but you need to acknowledge that these are very hurtful comments, very dangerous comments to young people particularly, and not just gay young people, but also straight allies and even people like myself. I have a 2-month-old daughter, and it kills me that she someday, by me appearing on your show tonight, she might find me someday and find these comments and see that this happened in 2013, the year of her birth. So it makes me very sad. It's sad.
At gays and lesbians.
Exactly.
I understand. Okay, thank you very much for being here, and we're going to move on to Tony, who's president of the Family Research Council, a group whose mission is to advance faith, family, and freedom in public policy and the culture from a Christian worldview.